Hi, it's Amelia Pern from here in Shohola, Pennsylvania with my HOA horror story. I've had some paperwork that another Maple Park owner gave me for a little while ago. And it's a really good example of why it's actually not easier to just pay these things when somebody decides to level an assessment on your property, even though you're not in the homeowner association. Some people, I know when they first get a bill, they're kind of like, they're confused about it, and they kind of think, well, it's just easier, I'll just pay, it's not, because there's no end in sight to it, and that's a huge issue. You can't, or you shouldn't, or I don't know why somebody would want to give up their property rights and their rights to what they bought. You agreed to what's in your deed, and if somebody else is not in your deed, then I'm terribly sorry for that other person, but you don't owe the money. So anyway, I was given this paperwork like around 2010, I think. And it starts off, actually, I'll put it on sholapa.com, probably on the Maple Park page. It actually starts off, or I'll put some of it on there because there's pictures and things that just they don't need to be on there. But anyway, it starts off December of 2008 with a write-up from a local landscaper about these two trees that a couple in Maple Park had decided to cut down because they were dead. And so he's talking about the trees, and it's kind of hard to read, but he appears to be discussing how both of them are dead, and they've been dead for a while, and they needed to go. They were trees, they were dead trees. They have to go. So now this couple is well within their rights to have this done. This is their property. These are their trees. There's no question about that. And so they've been doing improvements on this property for years and years. Every year it's nicer, and they've done a really nice job with what I remember when I first moved here was kind of a small lake style, not a bungalow, but a little bit bigger than that, a smaller house, older lake style type of summer house. And they've really done a beautiful job. Every year they're doing something new, and it's always getting better and better. So apparently at some point in 2008, they decided that they needed to take down these two trees. Now, here's the problem with their paying assessments that they don't owe. And I don't know. Now, these same assessments, of course, are called easement maintenance fees at this point in time because the courts decided that the Homeowner Association cannot charge us assessments. So right now, what I'm referring to in this paperwork as assessments is now referred to as easement maintenance fees. They've done a really nice job with it, and I don't know why they pay. I don't know if they were misinformed. I don't know if they just decided it was easier. I don't know. I've met them several times, but we haven't really talked at any length about that. So for whatever reason, whether the realtor told them they had to, which is very common up here and completely inappropriate, but perhaps that's what happened. I don't know what happened. Some reason they decided they're going to pay lake assessment, aka easement maintenance fees. So they decided they got to take these two trees down, and apparently they've already taken them down by May 20th of 2009 when the Barker Lakeshore Landowner Association Legal Committee I don't know who's on that committee or was. They probably should have been or had a cursory knowledge of legal issues prior to doing what they just did, or what they're going to do as I'm reading. So the legal committee had observed that there had been trees taken down. And apparently, according to the legal committee, I'm going to summarize these papers, but you can read them in full on the website. The trees were in a tree protective zone. This property is on Twin Lakes Road. I have never heard of a tree protective zone on Twin Lakes Road. So I have no idea what in the world. I've lived here a long time. I've never heard of a tree protective zone, okay? Anyway, So it says that, therefore, your application for this removal has not been approved. He doesn't need an application. He's not part of the landowner association, but okay. And then it goes on to talk about how he cut down the trees without a permit. Didn't need a permit. Okay. And on April 19th of 2009, a few members of our legal committee had inspected your property. Excuse? Seriously? Like, we're not part of them, and they're inspecting property. I think the legal committee probably should have asked their attorney, or a attorney, or bought a book about property rights and understood what they were legally entitled to do. Apparently that didn't happen. So, because they inspected the property and found that they didn't feel the trees needed to be removed from the tree protective zone, there is now a $2,000 fine against this Maple Park landowner who is not part of this homeowner association. And failure to comply may cause a lien to be placed on your property. Really? It's interesting. On July 22nd of 2009, the legal committee had apparently, in between that correspondence and this one, had contacted a urban forester and an arborist. And the photos that were done from the landscaper in the December piece of paper, the urban forester and the arborist really couldn't apparently make much of a decision on why if the trees were dying or not. So, so it says, should there be any proof that the trees were dead and dangerous to your home or anyone, we may then discuss the measures we will take in enforcing the fine of $2,000. But please keep in mind that these trees were taken down without a permit, so you will still have to pay the fine. They're not in the homeowner association. Okay, this doesn't sound easier to me. The homeowner association is also insisting that they plant 12 nursery-grown trees to replace the 2 trees that these poor people just took down because they've been doing home improvements, like we all should do and like to do, right? So one of the other neighbors had kind of gone to bat for this older couple. And there's a correspondence from August 5th, 2009 from the legal committee. And it says, the written proof in part, these are all in part, it says the written proof you are requesting regarding Walker Lakeshore Landowner Association jurisdiction over landowners in Maple Park can be found in the Red Rules and Regulations booklet that was mailed to every landowner. So if they type it up, apparently it's legal. Who knew? I didn't know that. I could type up all sorts of stuff and apparently it's legal. Anyway, therefore, it goes on to say, therefore, owning property in Maple Park makes you a Walker Lakeshore landowner, and as such, the rules and regulations govern your conduct. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. They could put anybody in their rules, or any homeowner association anywhere could put anybody in their little rules and regulations book. That doesn't make you part of them. It never makes you part of them. How illogical is that of this legal committee? Then there's the bill for the $2,000. And then September 16th of 2009, there's another correspondence from the legal committee to the Maple Park homeowner with the 2 trees issue. And it says, the fact still remains that you took these trees down without permission. As a member of Maple Park who pays for lake assessments, you must abide by these rules. And there you have it, folks. There's the problem with just giving in and saying, oh, I guess I shouldn't say giving in, because I don't know that that's the situation in that case. I know it is in some cases. How about also being incorrectly told by real estate agents that you have to pay this? How about that? Although, I guess in that scenario, you do have the right to back out of the sale. Anyway, Paying lake assessment means you have to abide by their rules, even though you're not part of them. Well, hello. Abide by their rules or they're going to fine you $2,000 for just making home improvements to your property that you own outside of their association. And it goes on to say that it is suggested that you comply with this rule to avoid further costs of legal action and attorney's fees. Gotta love that one. They always like that one. Do what we say or we'll sue you. And then in December 1st of 2009, which is almost a year after that landscaper's note, it says the fund was canceled, but please replace the trees. That's because the other neighbor intervened and did this older couple a solid and got it canceled. I don't remember the whole scenario back then, but he argued it well, obviously. So there you have it. There's the problem with paying assessments, because it's easier. Because the next thing you know, you have no rights. And you have people that don't even know what they're talking about inspecting your property. And putting fines on you and threatening liens and lawsuits that they're not even legally entitled to do. A little food for thought there. Thanks for watching.